y'all, how's it going? I hope you're having a great day. Y'all, I just wanted to pop on and give y'all a quick update on my husband's dementia. And the title of this video is Misdiagnosed. And yes, we have been misdiagnosed. We had our follow-up appointment down at the University of Florida on January 23rd. And this is what I'm following up on from the last update that I did. This is, of course, Live and Laugh with Linda. Welcome to my channel. If you're new, please consider subscribing, like, and all that, and joining us on this journey. I'd love to have you along. And if you're returning, y'all, give me a like. All right, let's get on with the video. So the video is going to be in 3 parts. The first part is, why did we get a wrong diagnosis to start with? What happened? How did this happen? Number 2, what's changed in 6 months? And number 3, what's up next? So number 1, I'm going to do a little quick review. Okay, so about 2 years ago, my husband started, actually more than that, about 3 years ago, my husband started having some interesting symptoms of a little bit of memory loss, but not any more than most people getting old. But mainly at night, he started having what I thought were hallucinations. At the time I did, and where he'd come out of bed and he'd see somebody standing in the room and come up wanting to, somebody's in the house when nobody's in the house, or hear dogs barking when they weren't barking, that sort of thing. At the time, I thought they were hallucinations, and I'll get back to that. They got a little worse as the couple years went by. I didn't know what to do about it. I just let it go until things progressed. And then in 2022, his legs began to swell and like edema, and but they went numb. And so this is why we originally went to the doctor, because his legs, he was having trouble walking. So in March of 2022, we went to neurology, and they said, okay, well, this is probably something to do with your back. So they ordered the first CT scan on lower back. It came back showing spinal stenosis, and the neurologist says, I'm going to send you on to orthopedic, to a surgeon, because this is not what I do. So we go to the orthopedic surgeon, and he says, let's get an MRI of your neck, because it's probably worse up here, the spinal stenosis. So they got an MRI of his neck, which showed his brain. And when that came back, it showed 2 things. The neck was a mess. He had like 3 discs, and he wasn't even in neck pain, but it was dangerously hanging and could really paralyze him. They scared us half to death. And the other thing it showed was that he had brain volume or whatever, a mass shrinking. So first thing they did was the neck surgery. Then a couple months later, they did lower back surgery. So all this is going on. All this is going on. Meanwhile, his legs have not been addressed. So then when we went back to the orthopedic surgeon for our follow-up after the surgery, because we forgot about the legs once we found out our neck was, his neck was so bad. And he brought up another point in the MRI. He said that your pituitary gland looks like it's got a tumor on it. Oh, okay. And then the brain mass thing. So at the same time, he sent us to endocrinology for the pituitary gland, who told us he had a huge tumor on his pituitary, and that was dangerous. Oh, okay. So they put us on, they had another MRI, and they decided that what we're going to do is go on some medication to get the levels, the blood work better. And we're going to try that. But be careful, okay. So then they sent us back to neurology to have a look at the brain problem. And finally, at that appointment, is when they asked me, had I noticed any other signs of aging or dementia? Well, it dawned on me to mention these hallucinations. So I mentioned those, and they just sat back in their seat. And that doctor on that day, and this was September of 22, and they diagnosed him off of those night things he was having with Lewy body dementia. Now, mind you, he's been through 2 surgeries. It's been a whole year. We now have 3 doctors. And by the way, they were saying none of this has anything to do with the other, which I thought was odd. He also had a psychological exam, and that was another thing that they did. It was terrible. It was the worst psychological exam I've ever seen. All right, so then we were getting such bad care here. I won't go into all that other than we were on our own. So we decided to put the bar up and get out of this city and go to some place that had some authority and knew what they were doing. So we went down to Gainesville, Florida. It's 2.5 hours, went to Shands, and that was last July 23, at their, it's their geriatric, it's the Norman Fiscal Institute, and it's Neurology, Geriatrics, and Dementia Center. And we went there, and it was just a fabulous, absolutely fabulous experience. The whole thing is our team, and we love it. All right. So she listened to everything and examined him and did all the things. She wasn't convinced. She was not convinced on the Lewy body thing because he does not check any of the other boxes, not a one of the other boxes, just the night things. And she began to question me. So here's the thing, y'all. If y'all are suspecting something and you have a loved one that's having these night episodes or even in the daytime, seeing things that aren't there, the difference, she said to me, was that does he come out of it and recognize it was not the truth? Or it was maybe just a dream? There goes my clock singing to y'all again. But yes, he does. For the most part, after a few minutes, he comes to himself and he says, then he feels real bad, but he goes, oh, like that. Well, that's not a dementia hallucination, according to these people. Most of the time, you don't even try to change their minds or anything. So that was a big clue. And turns out she wanted to investigate some sleep apnea, because it was more like PTSD kind of thing, REM sleep problems and so forth. So she put us on some medication and did some things. And he's not had another one, by the way. And the sleep apnea thing has helped. And we went back in July and they took that Lewy body right off of there. Yes, we went back in January. They took it off. And now, then we showed her all the other history and she said, my goodness, why this all has to do with all of these things he's had going on. They all have to do with each other. And they had never said that to me, and that made sense. Because in the meantime, we was trying to still figure out these legs. So he went and had vein treatments for 6 weeks where they treated these blockage and veins and everything in his legs. And his legs got better. So anyway, she is suspecting now vascular dementia, because all of this neurological stuff goes together. And it made sense. So now they're investigating that. He's going to have some testing and everything. So I guess all of this has taken about almost 3 years. The problem with getting the wrong diagnosis, you have that label put on you. And now we're trying to follow medications, and not all medications are equal. You don't need to take Lewy body, some of them for Lewy body don't work for others. So he's on harmful meds for a year, and all the things. I guess my message is, don't jump at the first doctor's opinion, or at least, if I had this to do over, I'd have headed down there to start with. But it just came about so strange. We've been through an awful lot with it, and my husband's dignity has suffered because of it. So there's that. Now, next Thursday, what's up next? Next Thursday, he goes for a 4-hour psychological full workup down at the center down at University of Florida. And we are hopeful that this is going to be the last little ping that'll give him a definitive diagnosis. He has not digressed a whole lot since July. And his symptoms are completely different than a lot of dementia, the things I read and hear about. So we are anxious to get a true definitive diagnosis. I thank you for your prayers. I couldn't have kept on going as a caretaker, a caregiver all these months because I don't know what I'm doing, y'all. I haven't joined a support group. I was going to, but I haven't because I want to know which one to go to. But I have a lot of family support and church support and prayer support, and I really, really appreciate it. Listen, life is good. God is good all the time, and all the time God is good. Find something that gives you joy in your life today and just smile. Just give yourself a smile and enjoy the day. And be blessed, and I'm going to see y'all next time. Thanks so much for joining in.